Now here I am in the back garden, just sitting in the sun for a couple of minutes while I apologise to you. Why do I apologise? Okay, I lied to you last week. Well, it wasn't strictly a lie. I said that Wildlife Wednesday was temporarily suspended, but in actual fact, suspension won't kick in for a week or two. The reason being, I had one episode in the pipeline which I was working on, and as it turned out, during the week I got to record another one, which is the feature of tonight's Wildlife Wednesday. And it's all about spiders with the wonderful Collie Ennis. So forgive me for lying to you, and enjoy tonight's Wildlife Wednesday. I'm back in the Garden of Ireland, County Wicklow. But not only my favourite county, I'm in one of my favourite parts of the county, because I'm at Collie Ennis's house. Now, you all know Collie, our resident Herpetological Society member, our expert on all small creatures. So we're going to talk to Collie today about spiders. And there he is, folks, right beside me. Collie, how are you? I haven't seen you for ages.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Okay, we're going to talk about spiders today.
Yeah, 'tis the season.
Now, 'tis the season. Yeah, I could almost sing that. Right, tell me why it's the season. What's happening?
It's coming to the end of their yearly cycle. So most spiders that you'll see around your garden and your house will have an annual cycle where in the spring they'll overwinter as tiny little spiders, and then over the course of the summer they'll start to grow and become mature, and then the adults will appear around now, almost out of nowhere, but they've always been there. It's just that they've been slightly smaller than they are now. Now they're fully grown adults, and the males start wandering looking for females, and again that's kind of who disturbs your television viewing of an evening, when you see the male spiders wandering across your carpet.
But having said that, speaking of television, every time I turn it on these days I seem to see my friend Collie Ennis, because you're the resident expert and all of the TV stations calling you to do at least one piece on spiders.
Yeah, it's
so tell me, I have a question, and I know all of the people on TV ask you this. Why are adults so scared of spiders?
Yeah, so there's a couple of schools of thought on why we have a fear of spiders. One is that it's a learned fear. So if your mum and dad are jumpy and edgy around creepy crawlies in general, when you were a kid, of course you're going to pick up on that energy. Another theory is because they've shown spiders to people like indigenous people in the Arctic, for example, and places like that where they wouldn't come across them very regularly, and some of them would still be afraid of spiders because it's a genetic fear. Our ancestors that survived didn't go near the snake or the spider or the rat or the dead body or the fire or the height, you know, and a lot of these fears are kind of almost our default settings. You know, the thought process between arachnophobia and that kind of the fear that kicks in with people.
So I assume as a child you were never scared of spiders?
I've a healthy respect for spiders, but I'm not really afraid of them, no. I mean, now, in saying that, I did have one of my tarantulas run at me the other day when I was feeding her. I have some pretty spicy specimens of tarantula and spider that would be more aggressive, and I would be very, very careful around them.
Now, are they poisonous or just dangerous?
All spiders carry venom. They all have to, and it's part of their digestive system, basically. How they hunt, how they kill, and how they fundamentally how they eat. So they all carry venom. The effect that it has on different species venom have on people is what varies. So, you know, it could be highly toxic to a woodlouse or a bluebottle, but it might be completely harmless to a person, you know.
Okay, so there isn't a spider out there that's likely to kill me, no?
Probably the most dangerous group of spiders will be the Lactrodectrus, and they are the true widows. So you'll have redbacks in Australia, you'll have the black widows in the US, and you have an assortment of widows that live right across Europe as well. And the reason why they would be the most medically significant spider is because there's just so many of them in close contact with people, and it's generally the young or the very old, like kids and elderly and infirm people, that will be affected badly by their venom. And it basically shuts down your diaphragm.
Okay.
So yeah,
Wonderful stuff. Now, we have a little tray in front of us here, Collie.
do.
Tell me what you're going to do with that.
so I'm gonna just show you some of the spider species that I found. Now, so what I did was I was doing a bit for telly the other day, and just as a little thought experiment, I kind of said, let's see what I can find around the house, because there was a segment on house spiders. So literally all of these were caught within an hour in my own home, and it's just an idea of what is in your home in Ireland or the UK at this time of year. So we'll start off, will I, Michael? Yeah.
Go ahead, yeah.
So this one here, if you can see it, this is a giant European house spider, and that's a male, and that's the female beside him. And you can see the difference in the size. The male's quite lanky, long legs, and he has two kind of protrusions on top of his head called pedipalps, and they're his reproductive organs. And he's really long now because he's become mature, and he needs those big spindly legs to get around, so he can find the female in the web. He'll do a little drum like that when he comes up to see her. You can see he's even reaction to my drumming there, and that will essentially let her know that he is the same species, that he's not a prey item, and then hopefully for him she will accept him into the web, and they can breed. Most male spiders, once they have bred, they become a post love meal for the female. They just that's just the way they are. They're really just essentially genetic couriers that just kind of pass on their genes to the females, and her job then is to lay the eggs in a little egg sac, and she'll rear them up and look after them. Then the egg sac will burst, and all the baby spiders will come out, and in turn they will disperse, and the whole cycle starts again. But these are the ones now that you always find in your sink and your bathtub at this time of year. Surprisingly enough, for spiders, they're not great climbers, so that's why they get stuck in the bath and in the sink.
Okay.
Yeah, and a lot of people think they come up the drain, but they don't. They drown. So what it is, it's they're falling in. And the tip that I say to people is, if you have spiders in your house and pull them out of the bathtub, freaks you out, you can just leave a towel down the side of the bath, and that will allow them to get some purchase and be able to climb out.
Oh, nice one.
Yeah.
I must remember that.
Yeah.
Although I doubt my darling wife would try that. That's another story for another day.
Yeah.
Collie, can we let one of them out just to have a look at them running around the tray
yeah.
there?
Now, these are going out into the wild anyway, so if they could do a run around, it won't really make a difference. But these are, now they're pretty fast spiders. You see them there? I'll try and get them.
How many legs has he got?
8. All arachnids will have the 8 legs. Come on now.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Now there we go. Look at how fast that is.
Here he is in the corner, folks.
Now they're down in the Guinness Book of Records as being the fastest species of spider on Earth, this particular species. But I don't believe it. See how quickly they go though.
Okay, you want to put him back in, or are you going to let him go?
I'll put him back in for now. Oh no, sure, we might as well just let him go. Go on, off you go. Now, off to find a lady somewhere.
Okay.
There we go. So the next one, I suppose we want to talk. I'll just talk about this one. This is an interesting species of spider there, tiny little one. But this is one you find around your windowsills and your doors, and it has a very interesting kind of almost like a doily. You know the paper doilies or the doilies that your granny would have kept, very much like that, and they're called lace web spiders. And they have a very interesting life cycle, because once the mother has her young, she'll actually sit in the web and start gyrating and moving a little bit, and then all the baby spiders will come around the mom and they'll eat her.
Really?
They'll eat her, yeah. So she gives herself up. There she is. She's on the move there now. Oh, that's a male actually. But the females will actually sacrifice themselves for their young as part of their reproductive cycle. It's a really fascinating way to kind of give your children a head start in life, is to kind of feed yourself to them. So a really unusual way of passing on the next generation.
Now I'm fascinated here, Collie. How can you tell that that's a male?
So at the front of the spider's body, if you look at the front, it has two kind of almost like commas or tiny boxing gloves on the side of the head, and that indicates that that's a male. The females just don't have them.
Fair old mover as well.
Oh yeah, rocking and rolling.
Yeah.
Now I'll take it out now. See, I have it by the web. So I'm just going to pop it down here. And see, these two males now will be off on their travels now, looking for females. There we go. Oh, there we go. There you go. You're getting a lot of action shots today, Michael. The BBC Natural History Unit will be snapping you up now. After all this.
I should have brought a macro lens with me.
That's it. Now, we'll go on to the next one. So that was the lace web spider, by the way. Now, this is one that's called a cellar spider, but it's commonly known as the daddy long legs spider. And you can see it's doing this kind of gyration here. I'm going to let it calm down, but that's a defense mechanism when it's disturbed in the web. It's almost like Elvis back in the day, in his glory days, giving it loads, you know. But she'll calm down now soon enough. And it's basically a defense mechanism to distract the predator. So if you're a bird or something, you're not going to oh, there we go. Hopefully calm down there. Oh no, we'll get her to sit for you. And you can see so dainty, very dainty. I'll just leave her sit there while you video. Very dainty, very slim, slender legs. And how they catch their prey, even though they are quite delicate, is because they have these wonderful long legs and a very highly sticky web. So once anything kind of touches off the web, they can literally throw more silk over it using those long legs and keeping away from it. And they'll actually eat other spiders, believe it or not. Much bigger, tougher spiders like the European house spider, you can find them in their webs. Because they can use those long legs just to kind of tie people up. Now they love humidity and moisture, so you'll kind of find them a lot in bathrooms and under your sink. And a very harmless, docile little spider. I always kind of say to people, because people freak out when they see these, because they are kind of gangly and weird looking, but there's no chance of them being able to bite you. They remove stuff like, you know, clothes, moths, blue bottles, all the kind of things that we don't want in our house. So if you're looking to have a spider in your house, I can't recommend these guys enough. And you can see how kind of gangly they are and harmless.
So in actual fact, he'd be an asset in the house.
Oh, absolutely. All these spiders that I'm showing you today, really, bar one, are completely brilliant to have in your house. And the reason for it is because, you know, they're doing pest control for you for free. You know, when I pull out a bit of furniture, or anybody pulls out a bit of furniture, your washing machine or whatever, and you'll find a cobweb. And if you look in the cobweb, like, you'll find wood lice, flies, all sorts of creatures that you don't want in your house, nibbling your furniture, kind of wrecking the place. And spiders are doing this absolutely for free and doing a great job of it too. So, you know, they are worthwhile. And we're going to let this one go as well, wander off. Freedom. He's actually fairly motoring there too.
He is fairly moving, all right.
Mm-hmm.
Hard to see against that particular background.
Yeah. Well,
okay.
I'm going to go on to our last one here, Michael. And this is the one with a bit of a reputation. I don't know if we've talked about them before. Maybe we have in a video before. But this is the famous false widow spider.
Oh yeah, okay.
And you can see how she does have that kind of widow look about her.
I think you told my darling granddaughter about this.
Yes, that's right. I had a great chat with her. But yeah, to recognise her there, you can kind of see the big shiny abdomen.
Yeah.
There's a kind of a skull-like pattern on the back of them. They form these kind of tangled, messy webs with almost like it's almost kind of chaotic looking. You generally find them in the web hanging upside down. They're non-native, so they're originally from the islands of Madeira and have spread quite well throughout Europe, the UK and Ireland. More than quite well. In fact, we reckon that they're probably the most dominant species of spider in Europe, or in Dublin at the moment. They're just everywhere. It's like you walk through town, you just find them all along the lampposts, and they seem to be doing quite well for a spider that's really from a much more tropical place than Ireland. They've set up home here very, very well. Now they do have a nip that is medically significant. And what do I mean by that? as in it will, you'll feel pain. You might get necrosis, like you might get a wound that will open up. Some people have had to have extensive work done. Very few, but it does happen where people have to have work done to kind of fight the infection caused by the bite. I've had recently. I've been talking to a few medical practitioners who've hit me up online, saying that the increase in spider bites in the last 7 years has been amazing. So, and it's largely down to these being in the country. Are they going out of their way to bite us? No. Are they aggressive species? No. What's happening is, again, usually the males are wandering at this time of year, and they'll set up, or they'll rest in your jacket while they're on their wanders, or your shoes. You put pressure on them when you put your clothes on, and then the bite occurs as a self-defense kind of mechanism, and that's generally what's happening. If you come across them in your house, my recommendation is to do the old cup over them, bit of paper underneath, and throw them outside, or just hoover them up. They're a non-native species, so you don't have to be very kind to them. They're probably going to have a negative impact on our own spiders and wildlife. We've recorded them eating our native lizard that we've talked about before, Michael.
Really?
Yeah, so that we've recorded them eating them. So they and they've been recorded in the UK eating bats as well, small bats. So their venom is quite powerful enough to kind of tackle small mammals.
But at the moment, they're not a threat to our native wildlife.
Oh, we think they are.
Oh,
yeah,
sorry.
We think they are. Yeah, definitely. It certainly looks that way. In trials that my colleagues have been, the Venom Lab in Galway University put them beside in containers with native Irish spiders, for example, and they'd have a kind of a barrier separating them, and then they'd let them out at each other, to interact with each other. And in all the cases, the false widow ate the native spider. Now, it's in a controlled setting. Obviously, it's in a laboratory setting, but you do kind of come across it in the wild as well, where you'll find a population of these. You don't tend to find other spiders around them.
Well, that begs a question, Collie. You said you found these this morning here in your house, including this guy.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So am I likely to go home and find one in my house?
You definitely would, especially in Tala, yeah.
Really?
Especially up in Tala, yeah. They're
Why especially in Tala?
because I know from having lived there, one of the first places we were kind of looking for them, and we found so many of them. It was crazy, And they're the type of spider that you'll see if you have, I don't know if you have skylights in your house. That's the kind of area they go, up and high and around there.
Okay.
Now, as I said to you, the chances of you getting bitten are very slim. Never been a recorded fatality. Even if you do get bitten, the chances again of you having a really bad reaction are quite slim as well. I think the fear of these can do more damage to people than the actual, we're lucky we don't have true widows and stuff in the country yet. I think it's only a matter of time before we do get them, but there's nothing to be unduly concerned about with these. I mean, just if you have young kids and all, just to keep them out of the house, my recommendation is if you see a web, just to knock it down, hoover up any of the spiders that are there. But as I said, they're non-aggressive, and for the most part you wouldn't even know they were there. Okay,
well, I've got a request for you.
Yeah.
If you happen to speak to my wife, don't tell her we have these.
No, I won't. I promise. Don't show her this video.
I definitely won't.
Definitely don't. But there you go. So there's like a kind of, they're basically the ones that you're finding around your house now in Ireland at this time of year, and all very, very useful creatures, including the false widow, but she's non-native, so we can't really be bigging her up too much. But they are all kind of doing their little bit of work for us in the background, and they're all part of nature. And I think people tend to freak out a lot more nowadays than they would a couple of generations ago when they see spiders and bugs in their house, because we have that disconnect from nature. But they are hugely important and part of our ecosystem and keep the world turning,
Okay, final question, Connie. I know you're particularly fond of tarantulas.
Yeah.
What's the biggest spider in the world?
So that's the Goliath board eater, aptly named. It's a big, huge spider, about the size of a dinner plate, the leg span, and they are from the Amazon, and they are a tremendously large and intimidating spider, and not one you want to get a bite off.
Okay, I'll stay well away. Collie,
Recommended.
as always, it's been a great pleasure talking to you.
No problem, Michael. It's great to
Thanks
have
for
you down
this.
again.
Thanks for watching Wildlife Wednesday, folks. I hope you've enjoyed this episode. If you did, please give it a like and subscribe to the channel if you're so inclined. For now, take care, stay safe, and I'll see you soon.